Hello class, in our today's lesson we will be starting the grade 7 mathematics. So the first topic we're gonna cover is the unit 1, which is the rational number system. I think you're already familiar with this number system, which is the natural number system, the whole number system, and then integer. So to do a revision, natural number is a number that starts from 1 and continues. A whole number is a number that starts from 0 and continues with all the positive numbers. Integer, in this case, is a broader than these two. So integer in defined numeric, we can see this number line. So integer is a set of numbers consisting of whole numbers, negative numbers, and negative numbers. So what do we mean by whole numbers and negative numbers? Whole number is a number that starts from 0 and consists of 0 and continues positively, and negative number is the one that starts from -1. We can define it as any number which is below 0. So anything below 0 is negative. So integer is a number that consists of 0, positive numbers, and negative numbers. So as we can see here, when the integers were first discovered, so Andres Celsius, as we know, is a Swedish astronomer. He identified the integer system when he was trying to scale numbers on the thermometer. So as we can see in this thermometer, there is the 0 here. So this 0 has numbers below and above it. So the numbers can't be the same. This number 10 and this number 10 do not have the same value. So አንድ አይነት ቫልዩ ከሌላቸው that means የተለያዩ ናቸው ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ ምን አደረገ? anything above 0 is positive. anything above 0 is positive, and anything below 0 negative ነው አለ። So this means, example, 20 degrees Celsius. If you want to measure temperature in degrees Celsius, if the temperature is 20 degrees Celsius above 0 means positive, right? So if it's positive, then it's gonna be positive 20 degrees Celsius. And 20 below 0, here we can see Celsius below 0 you can read as -20. So this number 20, which is below 0, is read as -20. So let's do these examples. The first thing in doing these examples, in order to solve these examples, is to identify the difference of above and below. So in the case of above, anything above 0 is positive, and anything below 0 is negative. Once we identify that, we can see 75 above 0 is, which it says above, so it's probably positive, so it's gonna be positive 75. 40 below 0, which is below, so it's gonna be negative, which is -40. You can do we can do these two by yourself. So let's recall from the grade 5 and 6 maths lessons. So I think you already know this, but let's do a revision. So a set of a natural number is always denoted by n. Natural number is denoted by n, and it's described as n equals a set of number 1, 2, 3, and continuous, which is infinite. So it starts from 1. Whole number is denoted by W, and it starts from 0 and contains all the positive numbers, or the natural numbers. Integer is denoted by Z, and it consists of 0, positive numbers, and negative numbers as well. So this is what we need to memorize. So let's get started on this. We're gonna see the sum, product, difference, and coefficient of natural number. And these properties the sum and the product of two natural numbers is always a natural number. So we have to know this. Example, 2, let's take two natural numbers, 2 and 4. So if we take these two numbers, 2 times 4 or 2 plus 4 is always positive. Which is positive means natural number. So in other case, ምንጊዜም ሁለትን በአራት ብናባዛ ፖዚቲቭ ነምበር ነው እንጂ ኔጌቲቭ ልናገኝ አንችልም። ወይም ደግሞ ሁለት ላይ አራት ብንደምር any natural number ወስደን natural numberዎች ሁሌም ፖዚቲቭ ናቸው። ስለዚህ ማንኛውንም natural number ወስደን ብንደምር ወይም ብናባዛ ሁሌም natural number ነው የምናገኘው, which is positive የሆነ number ማለት ነው. But it's not the same in the case of difference and coefficient. If we divide or subtract 2 minus 4, it is minus 2, right? So minus 2 is not, I'm sorry again, minus 2 is not positive. It is integer. So in this case, we do not always get natural numbers in difference and coefficient. But this doesn't mean we don't get any natural number if we divide or subtract two natural numbers. Example, we can take 2 minus 1. If we take this, 2 minus 1 is 1, right? So 1 is a natural number. So it doesn't mean we don't always get a natural number. Of course we get natural numbers, but it's not always. We also get integers and so on. We can even get rational numbers as well. And same goes to whole numbers. So if we in the sum and the product of two whole numbers is always a whole number. But in the difference and the coefficient of two whole numbers is not always a whole number, because we can see this and we can also take examples. So a whole number is not any different from the natural number except it contains 0. So we can take example 0 minus 1. I'm sorry. 0 minus 1, which is minus 1, right? So in the difference and the coefficient of two whole numbers is not always a whole number. So in this case too, it is not. We can see a coefficient example, so it's more clear. We can take two whole numbers, which is, let's take 2 and 4. So 2 divided by 4 is decimal number, right? It's gonna be, the answer is gonna be 0.5. So 0.5 is not a whole number, and it's not a natural number, so it's not an integer as well. So it's a rational number. So in this case, we need to study the rational numbers. So this is why we needed to include natural and rational numbers in our lessons. So the other thing is the sum of two integers is always integer. The product is the same and difference is also the same. So in the case of integer, the sum, the product, and the difference of two integer is always an integer. But the case is different in the case of coefficient, because in the case of coefficient, we can see we can see here, let's take two integers in which one is negative and the other is positive. So let's take minus 1 divided by, this means over means divided by, I think by now you know that, or let me write it this way, minus 1 divided by 4. So both are integers, right? So if we divide this, the answer is gonna be negative 0.25. The answer is negative 0.25. Don't mind my handwriting, I'm sorry. So if the answer is this, I'm sorry. If the answer is this is a negative 0.25. Anything that is decimal is not integer, right? So we can't say these numbers are integers. It's instead a rational number. So in our next class, we're gonna see what rational numbers is, but this is why we needed the rational number system, because in these cases it's not always an integer. So in the case of decimals and fractions, we should know what rational number is. So the coefficient of the coefficient of the quotient of two integer is not always an integer, but the other cases are true when in the product the sum and the difference is always integer. In the natural number and the whole number system, the sum and the product are always natural number, or the sum and product of whole numbers is always a whole number, but the difference in the coefficient is not always a natural number, and the difference in the coefficient of two whole numbers is not always a whole number. So we have seen this, and in our next class we will be starting the revision on fractions.